Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Bestonia Isles Large Fantasy Pirate Amusement Park, created by Sandman1424. So, stay tuned, and let's check it out. Alright, this was sent in by a subscriber, and he says here, welcome to this giant park that is essentially a brainchild of creativity and using the workshop to my advantage. Feel free to explore it if your computer hasn't caught fire this far. This park is a combination of themes ranging from fairy tale primary to pirates, Wild West, and minor bits of sci-fi. Long story short, enjoy! Alright, quite a crazy one today. As he said, a brainchild of creativity. It's crazy, it's all over the place. There's freaking giant coasters in the sky, not held up by supports. It looks crazy, it's a mess, but it's fun, and it's just one of those unique park spotlights today. It's a end-to-end, walled-in city, and I thought it would be something interesting to explore. I'm going to start playing a clip here for you guys. I do want to mention this to Sandman. When you guys do a submission for a park spotlight, and even when you do an upload to the Steam Workshop, you gotta kick the guests out. I opened this thing up and it had 8,000 guests or something like that. It takes, 10 minutes to kick them all out, and when you first boot it up, you're getting 3 to 4 frames per second, making it a slideshow. So it is one of those unfortunate things that if you do a mega park end-to-end, you're gonna have to have no guests, or you could do a smaller park that's quarter the size of the map and have 5,000 guests. You gotta find that balance. The game isn't quite optimized to have 10,000 guests end-to-end parks and millions of pieces. There's just so much the game and computers these days can handle. Having said that, I would highly recommend it to Sandman to re-upload this with no guests in the park, so that when people do load it up, they can load it up without catching their computer on fire or crashing their game entirely. So for me, when I'm doing these spotlights, I want to see if I can't get 10 FPS, it's not really worth a spotlight, because we can't really walk around without it being a slideshow. It just doesn't make for a good video. So having said that, I have to kind of kick all the guests out before I can even find out. Looking at it here, we're getting about 14, 15 FPS, so I think it's acceptable to check this out here today. So let's delay no further and get on into it. So here's a look at the park end-to-end city. Quite crazy. I do want to mention to Sandman, you are not showing up as a Discord member, but a subscriber. Please check out the information down in the description below and come join us on Discord, as well as everybody else who plays Planet Coaster. So, quite a crazy creation here today. I don't even know what to say. Let's go get lost in this craziness. That's quite a cool looking castle there. Very grand scale. So he said it's an amalgamation of stuff used from the workshop. So there's going to be some hodgepodginess going on and all sorts of craziness. But I kind of like the crazy. Let's embrace the crazy today. Whether or not you're building everything from scratch and methodically placing things. I can't even find my way through this castle. I think we have to actually go around it. What was I saying? So yeah, whether you're trying to make the most beautiful end-to-end park and really thinking about the placement of every single bush and asset. I seriously can't figure out how to get through the park. Or what I was going to say is, if you're just throwing things together for the sake of it, to have fun and enjoy Planet Coaster for what it was made to do, grabbing those items from the Steam Workshop, placing them down, doing a little bit of touch-up work yourself with like lanterns as we're seeing here, and just kind of placing, pathing, you can still come up with some pretty darn amazing creations. Sometimes they're not going to be the most realistic, sometimes they're crazy, and sometimes you can get these extraordinary, strange, wacky designs like we're seeing here today. Coasters up in the sky, all about. But even, a lot of the stuff being from the workshop, the layout and the design is quite interesting. As you saw me get stuck at the beginning there, I think the pathways could be a little bit more clear or thought out. It is feeling a little bit claustrophobia in here, but it's still visually stunning. Everywhere we look, there's a lot of hard work gone into the hand placement of all these items. I think the one problem that I have with grabbing so much stuff from the Steam Workshop is we're seeing a little bit of inconsistency throughout the building designs and that sort of thing. There's just, this is next to that, and that is next to this, and none of it really makes sense. But it also kind of gives you this weird Alice in Wonderland craziness that is quite fun. We got a little the Watcher. I thought it was an arena. Okay, that's the observatory. It's a really good looking building there. So I think a lot of the fun in this episode is gonna really come from the coaster spotlights, because I don't really feature gigantic coasters that are up in the sky like this that often, or I haven't seen too many people create craziness like that. So we'll have to reserve judgment on the coasters. Even though they're flying in the sky with no supports, they can still be a ton of fun with some pretty great views looking down at the city below. So yeah, the whole city is walled in. I like that idea of it's kind of like a city spotlight, a medieval city, which is quite a cool idea. I definitely like this concept, and I think there's a ton of fun to be had with this. Is, you know, make a city almost like a Skyrim city or Dragon's Reach or something, wall it all in, and that's where all your attractions, your shops, your hotels, and some of your flat rides are. And then on the edge of the city you have, you know, a forest and lush giant mountains and valleys, and then you have all your coasters kind of, the stations are in the city, but then maybe they tunnel you through, take you underground in the sewers, and then launch you out the back, and you start exploring the valleys and stuff like that. Obviously you would have to have a much smaller scale city to make it work, but I still think this concept is really cool. I love this lush green giant wall here. This looks pretty cool. Wow. That is one crazy wooden coaster. That has a lot. I gotta see the track length on this. 2,227 meters. Oh boy, that's a Gaussian length coaster right there. Holy Toledos. It's really hard to walk around this park, you guys. Haven't struggled with a park spotlight walk around like this for a very long time. I am getting a little bit lost. Some of the pathways just kind of lead you to a dead end, as you can see there. It's kind of thrown together in this crazy fashion. We've got a floating Ferris wheel built onto a lake. This looks astonishing. Look at that boat. So many soldiers on it. Yeah, this this is one of those crazy ones that if you guys want to walk around and take a closer look, but definitely be sure to check out the link in the description below, and you know, go get lost in those little nooks and crannies. I think the one going back to the one problem with the Steam Workshop is, you know, sometimes things don't match or work quite well next to each other because it's all different creators creating it, so it lacks the inconsistency. The same can be said with the layout of the park, because you're placing things going here and there. You kind of corner yourself with your designs, and then you have to build your way out here. So I definitely think the layout is a little bit strange as we wrap all the way around, get to a dead end here. There's only one way through there. One way to there. Yeah, so you do get a little bit cornered on this guy. But they're kind of like islands. I kind of get that idea. It's pretty cool. But I think the reason it's so hard to find your way around is the pathways get lost. You can't really tell where you are, where you're going. And I think that's kind of helps having directional forces, elements that lead your eye, and sometimes clutter can obscure all of that. So you kind of you naturally get lost and feel a little bit claustrophobic. But nonetheless, I think this is quite a crazy, fun creation here today. Certainly grand in scale. It looks like a ton of fun. Look at that right there. But it's definitely hard to walk around and enjoy the details just because I'm feeling a little bit claustrophobic and I can't quite find all the pathways. But it is certainly cool. Oh boy. Alright, everybody, there's a quick tour of this craziness. What do you guys say we ride some of these wacky coasters? I think we're going to skip the boomerang today. The circuit of the log flume is pretty nuts. We can ride it at 2 times speed. I usually like the log flumes to be somewhat scenic, but let's give it a go. We're going to go at 2 times speed here. All right, worth it just for hearing that song in 2 times speed. You definitely get the world's strangest log flume award. That was quite crazy. All right, let's see if we can find some of these coasters. I definitely want to ride this wooden coaster. Let's give this one a go, guys. There's a look at all the stats there. Oh boy. I thought it was never going to end. I could literally feel my GPU melting on that one. I'm sure you guys saw it. If you're going to do a big wooden coaster, I highly recommend you do it over terrain where you can hide the supports and just have the coaster hugging the terrain. It does take up a lot of polygons and part count, just having all those wooden supports. Each one of those beams is 6 polygons times a gajillion, and it definitely takes a hit on your GPU. If you're further back, it might be a little bit better because they drop out on LODs, but there's still so much going on in the park already. So hopefully some of these other coasters will run a little bit smoother because we're not surrounded by a gajillion polygons, but that was quite crazy, I must say. So let's ride one of these insane air coasters. What do we have here? A Steel Hydra up in the sky. That was so strange, the way that the rails were almost completely sideways banked, not allowing it to actually swing. I would definitely be concerned about the amount of the strain on the little, what do you call them, the swing widgets, as I would be very worried about being in that train and having it snap because of the amount of pressure being pushed down on it as it's going down that sideways rail. Very strange indeed, but interesting. So, holy moly, the king. Longer than the wooden coaster, 2,600 meters. What do we have here? A Giga. That is certainly a Giga. Let's check this out. All right, that was certainly unique. Oh my goodness. I think that might be all of the coasters. There's a huge monorail track going around. Saw the log flume, those two big guys, and the Woody. Yeah, that's all of them, guys. 3 crazy, wacky, and wild coasters. 1 crazy hodgepodgey medieval fantasy city. Quite a lot of fun here today. That is something else. Wowie. Last thing I guess I haven't done. Let's check it out at nighttime. That is a lot of lighting. Wow, really good job on the lighting. I could definitely tell there's a lot of work gone into this, and I think it's a pretty cool park. It's a really good concept. I think the coasters really, I think if the coasters were on the ground and just a little bit more sophisticated, I think the park would come together and look really nice. I think the weirdness that comes from the coasters up in the sky that kind of throws you off, because as we were on some of those coasters, I was looking down and, you know, absorbing the city below. And there is quite a lot of good details, and the composition comes together and looks pretty cool from certain angles. It's just the coasters that throw me off, that just the spaghetti over top of the whole city like that. It's certainly a frame killer on this one, especially when those fireworks go off. Oh my goodness. Definitely, if you guys get this far into making a park, try to skip on the fireworks show, because or at least have it as a sequence only where you have to push a button, because it does cause some serious frame killers. All right, so there you go, everybody. That was Mega Park Bestonia Isles by Sandman. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, links are down in the description below. And that's going to do it for this episode of Park Spotlight. If you guys enjoy, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos. And if you guys would like to support the show to keep it going, you could do so by becoming a patron. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.